Here we go, Cicero. The second half of chapter 29. Quid primum. What first? In the accusative. Quira. This looks like it's a future, so what shall I first complain of? And then we have or. From where? Potissimum, most preferably. Judges in the vocative. Audia, another future. Where shall I begin? Audia. Udnis from where? Shall I start? Judges. Or what? Or from quibus. Petem. Okay, so petem seek, auxilium's help. So the whole sentence is what shall I first complain about? And from where shall I begin most preferably, gentlemen? And what and from whom shall I seek help? Diorum ne. Ne is the enclitic for a question. So of the gods immortalum, so of the immortal gods, Populine Romani, that NE is another enclitic for the question, he's repeating it. So of the immortal gods of the Roman people, Vestram, this is yours, again as the knee, qui summum potestem habebis, so who, habis, you have the summum potestem, you have the utmost power, hoc tempore in this time. Fidem usually means trust or something. Implorem. Okay, so here's what's going on. Shall I implore fidem? If something comes into fidem, it's usually means into protection. So shall I implore the protection of the immortal gods of the Roman people or yours, who you have at this time the utmost power. 30. Pater occisus nefere. This looks like an adverb. So nefariously, the father, in his past passive nominative, the father was killed nefariously. His domus, which is a house, was obsesso. Ab inimicis, by enemies, was besieged or was being possessed. Bona adempta, his goods, plural, have been adempta, plural past passive. They've been taken away. Again, they've been possessed. Direpta, I wonder if that comma's supposed to be there. Looks like his possessions have been directed, stolen as well. Of his fili, of his son, his vita, which would be the topic at hand, the life of the son, has been endangered, basically, in festa. Sapi often, pharaoh, the ablative, by the sword, and insidis, which is plotting and treachery, appetita. So the vita has been appetita. The life of his son was sought from these hostile people, and often with the sword and by plotting. Quid, what? Sometimes quid's why, but here it's what? Ab his, from these. Tot maleficus sceleris ab esse videtur. So videtur means what seems, so quid videtur, what seems. Ab esse, to be missing. Videtur, it's taking this infinitive. What seems to be ab esse, from absum, meaning not present. From maleficus sceleris. Sceleris are crimes or deeds, so maleficus is evil, bearing evil fruits, basically. So what seems to be missing from these, abis, so many evil crimes. Tamen, nevertheless, haec these things, cumulant atqui ad organ, which they accumulate and they add to, ad organ means to increase, with alias nefaris, with other nefarious deeds. So these are accrued and increased. Crimen incredibile, this is the third adjective going with this neuter. Again, they're is for male and females. And they configurant. They're creating incredible incriminations or accusations there. And testis with witnesses. I'd say that's plural ablative. In hoc, in this. Also at accusators. So here they have accusators who escape pecunia comparent. So they've procured, they've comparent these accusators with, this looks ablative, with the pecunia, with the money, huiski, of with his own money. So they've accumulated all these charges, and they've got witnesses which they've bought with the guy's own money. Okay, so the testis and accusators are going together. So that's not ablative, that's an I stem. And hanc conditium misero ferunt. So they bear these condition to this wretched person, to this misero, So that ut, he must choose, optet is the choose or the wish, utrum whether, mallet he prefers, curvus is your necks, so to give his neck to T. Roscio, this would be it's a lobus throats, so to offer his neck to totus roscius, and here we have an again, utrum and an, so this is the first choice, and the second choice is insutus. This would be a adjective or a past passive. You can tell from the TUS there, it's nominative, so insutus means to be sewn up in a coolium, which is a bag, which used to be an old punishment of the Romans. And per summum decorus vitam omittere, and omittere is to lose his life through this utmost dishonour, through the utmost dishonour. Yeah, as you see, most sentences end with verbs here. Okay, daily dictionary I've prepared. Testis, accusative, plural, testes or testis, as these I stems have, just witnesses, one who testifies or attests. Okay, patronus, accusative, plural. They have patrons and clientes, which are clients. These patrons are often lawyers. So, huic de futuris putaverant. So, this is the perfect, they were thinking, as you can tell from the NT, this is a plural, that de futuris, which is in future, he would be de sum, which means they'll be lacking. They were thinking that patronos de futuris, that he would be lacking in any defender or lawyer, huic. That's just your adverb. So, desunt, possibly the shortest sentence you'll see. They have failed him. Huic here was to him, so they were thinking that there would be lawyers would be failing dative to him, and desunt, they have failed him. Qui, he who is, dicat, who will speak libere, that's freely in the adverb. He who with fides, with trust or loyalty, defendat, he who will defend him. Id quos in hac causa satis est. So this, which in this case is satisfactory, non est. He will not be lacking. Profecto, assuredly, that's another adverb. Gentlemen or judges, he's not deist. He is not lacking in someone who will speak freely and who will defend him with confidence and trust and loyalty. In this case, satis est. Cicero is going to be the satisfactory one doing it. 31. Et fortisant, and perhaps in suspicienda causa. This looks suspiciously like a gerundive. In the suspicienda means in the taking up of this causa. In taking up this cause, they go together. Temere means rashly. Impulsus adolescentia fecerum. Okay, and so perhaps in taking up this cause, fecerum, I've done this with the impulse. This would be what's doing it is the impulse of his adolescence, because he's a young man. Perhaps he's been very impulsive in taking up this case. Quoniam, since, that takes the indicative. Quidam, indeed or even. Semel suscepi. Since I've taken this up, or once I've taken up, semel means once. This here looks like it's wrong. That shouldn't be an I, it should be an L. Licet, it's usually an impersonal. Hercules, by Hercules, undique omnes, and from everywhere, all threats, all types of threats, minae, the threats, terrors, pericule qui, and that qui is enclitic means and, periculum is a neuter, so this is dangers, it's a plural. Impendiant, you see this construction here of the second conjugation, just adds an A there for the subjunctive. So there's hanging on him this weight everywhere, omnia, all these weights are impendianting. These are, omnia are the threats and the terrors and the dangers. So this licet would be although. So although from everywhere there are threats, terrors and dangers hanging on him, all these things. I saw saccorum and suburbo. Socorro usually means run to give help, and suburbo, it's basically like suspicienda, means you'll undergo this, you'll take up this cause. Certum est deliberatum qui, so it is certain and deliberately, quae ad causam pertinere arbitro, the things which, there's quae which means which, arbitro means which I think are pertinere, this is a verb of thinking, things which are pertinent ad causam to the cause, omnia, not modo dicere, so not only to speak them. So everything with these things is pertinent at the cause. Everything, not only will he say it, verum, but even libento, freely he'll say them, and audactor, boldly, and libere qui dicere, libenters, willingly, and liberes, freely, and so he'll speak freely and boldly. Nulla res, no matter or circumstance, tanta existence. This means exist. There's no circumstances will exist. Again, vocative, gentlemen of the judges. Tanta ut correlatives that will be so great at ut that possit it'll be able to. Vim mihi maiorum adhibere mitis quem fides. So we've ended the sentence without a verb. Okay, so it's able that adhibere means to apply, mihi to me, fear, metus, quem fides, then loyalty. So there's no possible vim. Vim's a force which will be able to apply to him. Maiorum just means greater. So it's no rather great force will be able to be applied to him that will make fear able to influence him more than his loyalty. Etonym, again that's enim and et, so for also. For who is there, quiz who, so dissolute NMOS, so who is dissolute in mind, NMO is in the mind or heart, qui who, haec when videat, so when just with the subjective, so when he sees haec these things, posset, he's able, which takes the infinitive, tacere, to be silent, and to be negligent, neglire, not do his duty as it should. Patrem meum, my father in the accusative, cum proscriptus non esset, when he had not been proscriptus, he had not been proscribed, jugulastis, you cut his throat, you jugulated him. Archism, again this is in the accusative, so when he was dead, in the proscriptorum numerum ritualistis, you bore his name basically and put it into the number of the prescriptions of the people who should be killed. And me, this looks like it's contrasting, domo meo per vim expullistis, you have expelled me per vim through force, this would be ablative from my home, mea domo. Patrimonium meum posseditus, and you possess my patrimony or my inheritance. Quid voltus amplius, so what, quid voltus do you want, amplius, further or fuller. Etenam, nay, there's the knave of a question, so even ab subcelia to these benches, so even to these benches, cum ferro atqui tellus venistis, so you even come to the benches with iron, which usually means a sword, and tellus, which are weapons, so that hic, either jugulatus, you'll cut his throat, or condemn. So either he'll have his throat cut or he'll be condemned. That's what they're looking from the court. 33. A homine longae audacissimum. So as you see, that's the superlative. So longae means by far, it's an adverb. So the most audacious man by far, nuper recently, habuimus, which we have had in civitate, which is the state or city, it's probably the state, is C. Fimbriam. C. Fimbriam is the apposition of this homonym audissimum, and quod inter omnis constat. Constat means it's agreed, and which is agreed inter omnis amongst everyone, nisi inter eos, except amongst those, qui who ipsi, this must be plural, amongst those who themselves, quoque also are insaniunt, is the most insanissimus one. So this man is the most bold, and it's agreed amongst everyone that he's the most insane, who they've had nupa recently. Is he, cum curasset, from where we get cured, he, when he curassetted, this is like he arranged or something like that, in the funera, in with the ablative, of C. Marius, ut that, Q. scaevola vulnerare, he was to be wounded, vir sanctissimus, a man most upright, you might want to say, a very good man, and ornatissimus, he's looks like decorated, nostre civitas, in our state, so he's a man who's well respected in the state, this is Scævola's the man who's respected. This other man is Fimbria, who was bold and insane. Concerning his laudation, which is his praise, and again it's split by a genitive. Concerning his praise, neither hic locus est. So this is not the place for his praise. As Malta, as many things decanter can be said. Nequi plura, this looks like a long sentence. Nequi plura tamen dice possunt. Okay, so nequi, neither, is more. Tamen, nevertheless, is possible to speak more. Dici is the infinitive passive. So this isn't the place for his praise, as many things could be said. Neither is able to say more quam than populus Romanus in the nominative, the Roman people, retina, can retain memoria in their memory, basically. So you can't, it's not possible to say more than what these the Roman people have in their mind. Diem Scævolae dixed. This looks like he's calling for his day in court, it looks like, an appointed day of Scævola. Postea afterwards, or postea quam afterwards, he had comparated, he had learned, him posse vivere. Okay, so he was able to live from this vulnerita, from this wound. So when he hadn't killed him, he invoked some sort of charge that he would go into court. Cum, when abeo from him, quereta, it was inquired or asked from him, quid tandem, what, esset, what he would be accused of is the future. In a question, tandem just means just. So just what was his accusation? It was asked from him, just what is this accusation? Whom pro dignite ne laudare quidem. So ne quidem means not even. So on account of his dignitas, pros takes the ablative, that anyone, quisquam, no one is not even able to praise him satisfactorily, is able commode. Commode is the adverb, means aptly or justly. And then eventually in English, there's a cabinet which is suitable, which became the commode, which is where you put your toilet bowl, if you want to know the history of that word. So, the homonym, they said about this man, as he was so furiosus, as he was so angry, he is said to have respondisse, which is the perfect infinitive. So when I was asked from him just what was this accusation, how was anyone able to satisfactorily be able to ask anything on behalf of his dignity, this is when he got angry, and he replied. Okay, so he said, because quod, not the totem tell him, he has received corpore in his body. So this furious madman who was insane said, the charge is because he hasn't received the totem tell him. He hasn't received the whole spear inside of his body. Quo here probably means by which the populus Romanus, the Roman people, vidit, it saw nihil nothing, comparative indignius, more indignant, nisi, except for the mortem viri isdem, except for the death of this same man, the same viri, the same man, which tantum potuit, which was able, tantum aut, the correlatives, which was able so much that his ochesis, his death, was the perdiderate and afflixerit omnis to everyone, which was a destruction and affliction to all. Just about done. Quia, because, quos, those people, servere per composition, volubat. So he was wanting, in the imperfect, to preserve or conserve, quias, those people, through a composition, or, as the Loeb says, a settlement. Himself, abeus, by them, he was interemptus est. He was killed by these people he was trying to preserve.